Yeah, thanks for being there and welcome back. Now, the fintech ecosystem in Nigeria is largely comprised of businesses focused on mobile payments, digital banking, merchant solutions, and personal finance, including wealth tech. Now, overall, Nigeria has experienced a remarkable performance in the fintech markets in the past 12 months, marking an improvement from 2020. Now, how can we ensure that we experience the growth needed in this sector? Our guest is Fisayo Durojaye. He leads strategic finance at FINACCESS, Africa's biggest software service provider.
Provider.
Okay. Prior to that, he was a venture capital investor, investing actively in different sectors and businesses across Africa. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you and hello.
Having me.
Great.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you, Fisayo, and well done.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So let's get into it. And let me start from the last conversation with our second guest. Fintech is growing in Nigeria, but many of our talents are relocating. How do we balance it? How have you dealt with this as a fintech founder? And how has the regulators helped the industry?
Yeah, and I mean the question of relocation. I think that there are two things driving it, right? It's economics, and the second thing it's business environment. I'll explain both.
Okay.
Economics, you can do pretty much little about that because the tech talents want to get more money for the same work he's doing, right? So if you require me to do the same work and I can move to the US and earn times 5 of what you're offering me today, I guess that takes that commission off your hands. However, the second biggest reason, which I believe most people are leaving, is not because of economics. Because again, people can work remotely and maybe able to work for other companies and then earn the same thing. But people are leaving because they feel that I don't feel safe carrying my laptop around, right? I don't feel safe carrying, my devices around. I don't feel safe wearing dreads, for police not to harass me. I don't feel safe, in the country. So there's a lot more about structural issues. I can't do my work properly because while I'm doing the work, I go out. I'm here on this interview right now. I'm just hoping that, life stays the same. I've made provisions for backup either way, but these are things I have to deal with on a daily basis. So there are more structural issues happening as well, outside of just, the economics that people look out for, in doing that. So how do you do it, right? What people look out for is flexible working times, right? Gone are the days where, some boss is breathing down some employee's face and then the employee cannot do anything about it. There are more opportunities around for everyone globally, right? So you need to create a good working environment. You have to pay competitive prices. Unfortunately, that's what we have to do, right? Because you're competing not with companies in Nigeria. You're competing with, for this same talent, with companies across the world, from India to the US to UK to Canada.
Yeah.
And of course, some of these people are also even doing visa provisions for some of these talent. Exactly. So you have to do everything within your power to ensure that, yes, you create the best working environment for your people, and then hopefully they will stay.
Of course, obviously, there's a lot happening in that sector. And this calls for the need for proper regulation. Now, in the midst of the positive outlook of the regulatory developments that we're seeing, there have also been some policies that have been viewed with apprehension by players in the Nigerian fintech market. Now, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'll look back and say that I think the Central Bank of Nigeria has been given maybe less credit than it deserves in the evolution of fintech today, right? They've been particularly supportive, and maybe not overall for the banking sector or overall for the management of the macroeconomics, but specifically around technology and of course technology adoption. I believe the CBN has been particularly impressive in the way they've allowed innovation to take place. And what that thing only does for me is the fact that first it shows that All that the government needs to really do is to create an enabling environment and let the innovators do their work, and they will be fine. Create regulation around payment systems, Paystack shows up, Flutter shows up. Create regulation around digital banking, Kuda showed up, different other digital bank targeting different things showed up. Create regulation around POSs, Team App show up, Global Accelerator show up. Like, these are people that build their businesses on top of that regulatory, oversight that CBN has provided. I also recognize for a fact that some other regulators, so say for instance, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has been also thinking about ways to democratize, the investment landscape using technology. They have a lot of catching up to do, right? That needs to move into there. I guess where the CBN has gotten a knock in recent times is their management of cryptocurrency, right? And I get where the issue for the CBN is coming from, right? It's a new industry really. Many people don't understand it. Central banks around the world don't still understand it, right? So it's easy for any regulator to just take a hawkish approach. Okay, I'd rather ban this thing than allow it to disrupt the financial system, right? So that's where some of the places where the CBN has gotten a knock. But generally, I think that from every other part, right, they've done particularly well for the industry in terms of regulation.
Okay. Now let's look at the ease of accessibility to data, which is occasioned by open banking. And it has raised the issues of confidentiality and privacy. What can end users do, and what should fintech companies begin to do right away, to try and take us around this challenge?
Yes. So open banking is, I believe, the next phase of growth for banking, really. So what it means is that for a customer, for instance, I can decide to share my banking data, my transaction history, with anyone that I want to do it with my consent, right? And I think that's where the difference is, with my consent. I approve that you should share this information with someone else, right? Just that I am the one that give the consent to it. What that will do is that, so for example, today, I bank with one of the banks, the one of the bigger banks, the orange one, right? They've had my history from university days, when my parents used to give me money, right? They know my parents give this guy money, 10K every month. So they saw that. They saw me as I graduated from university, and I was jobless for 2 years. Like, this person's parents have stopped giving him money, and he's not earning salary. They saw my first salary. Do you get? They saw my promotion. Okay, this person's salary has increased. Okay, it has increased again. They saw when I changed jobs. Right? So they have so much history that they can then decide, okay, I can profile this person because I know so much about him. And I have 10 years of his history. I have 20 years of his history. I can profile him properly for a loan. But on the contrary, the fintech companies that just started 2 years ago, they don't have that history, right? They don't know much about me. They just see that they issue me card, they don't start giving me loan based on that. It doesn't work. So what open banking does is that allows me to take down my history with the Orange Bank and share it with any company that I want to share it with, so that they can then profile me properly and then have a better banking relationship with them. And I think that what this does is that it democratizes, first, access to financial services for many people, right? It's not particularly useful it's not particularly good, for the traditional banks, because they are the ones that have done the work to have kept the history all this while, right? I can just take that history and share with someone else, and then those ones can then, based on that history, lend me money, give me mortgage, give me some insurance, give me something that I require that my bank is not provided for me, right? That's what open banking does. Just gives access to more people to be able to use financial services and use it properly.
Absolutely. I always say to people that when industrialization came to the world, we thought it was a huge thing. But when the internet age came, it surpassed whatever the industrialization did to us. Now we see fintech, and we see a future for fintech. What skills should we focus on now so that we don't lose out?
Okay, so I'll go down memory lane, right? So I remember back in this, when I was growing up in Djibouti then, if you don't get to the bank, you don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m., right? You don't get to the bank. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. You don't do your banking transaction by Friday before 3:30 p.m. That's the end, because there's no transaction over the weekend. Right? Back in the days, remember then that, if you put your money in a particular branch of a bank, that's the only branch you can collect your money back. So we've seen that evolution of technology, how technology has started driving efficiency in banking for a very long time. Back in this way, if you deposit at the UBA bank in Ijebu, you can't go to UBA bank in Lagos to withdraw it. But at some point that changed, right? Then technology started creeping in. So finance and technology started creeping in together, right? And of course, then, payments got solved, digital banking, POSs, just evolution, things started improving as we go. Today, I dare say that, so for instance, the banking space or technology space in technology space in financial services in Nigeria is probably even more advanced than some of the most advanced countries like the UK and the US. I still heard some conversation about 2 years ago about how the UK cannot verify your bank account and your bank name together. Like, huh? This doesn't make sense. That UK cannot figure this out, that we figured out for years here in Nigeria, right? And this has been strong evolution from people and of course from regulators. I guess going forward, how do I see the future going? It's much more technology, it's much more technology adoption, right? It means that people then have to, open their heart a lot more to doing digital transactions a lot more, having digital identity a lot more, having being open-minded to use newer technology that has not been proven before, and then be able to just, be comfortable around, because the future essentially for banking or for financial services across the world, in Nigeria specifically, is going to be technology driven. We've seen Momo from telcos driving adoption as well to the most rural places, right? So people need to start getting used to the fact that yes, technology is the way forward, and we continue to drive innovation across the financial services system, not just banking, but of course even in insurance, asset management, all forms of financial services will be destroyed by technology as well. So the earlier we adopt ourselves, open ourselves to that adoption, the better for everyone.
Okay, awesome. So how do we inculcate fintech skills into our educational system? And what advice for new fintech startups? There's 2 questions because we're almost out of time.
Yeah. So I saw a picture some time ago about how education system has remained the same. From time immemorial, people sitting in the classes with desk and table and a teacher on the board. But how the workforce has changed from desktop to laptop to personal computers to not even physically going to work. So the education is not necessarily catching up with innovation. And I think that's a particular fact, right? So what do? It means that we have to improve on the quality of teaching and learning. We have to improve, infuse technology adoption into the education system, not just for fintech purposes, but because the future in itself is going to be technology driven. Our teachers need to get trained around how to use technology to deliver their programs a lot better. Universities don't have to physically gather. They can learn online. They can have international exchange without necessarily leaving the country. So a lot of things that can be adopted as technologically, into the education system, and that needs to happen right now. Right now. Okay. Essentially, that's one that needs to happen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, technology has come with all of the positives, but there are a few negatives. We may not have the time to look at all of that now, because today we're looking at how to make, hay while the sun is still shining, especially on a day such as this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Our conversation with you has been so helpful. Thank you. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Fisayo. All right. So, John, we move on. I should see you and discuss other skills, so I can learn more from you. And John, what's your quote for the week? What's your quote for the week? Your nugget?
My nugget.
Pharaoh is not here today, unfortunately.
Yeah. Are you missing her?
So who are you dedicating and you dare not dedicate that nugget to me today?
Okay,
I'll
nugget.
Throw it back at you.
I'll give the nugget first, then I'll tell who it is dedicated to.
Okay.
Right. So my nugget for today is this: new level, new devil. Life is all about challenges. As we move up the ladder, as we change camps, as we move from one place to the other, we face new challenges. We face new devils. And that's what life is all about. So we're talking to people, public speakers, who want to address their audiences and all of that. Always see whatever comes to you on stage as a new devil. They will always come. The best thing is overcome the devil and just do what you have to do.
Okay.
That's my nugget for this week. And it's dedicated to Helen.
It's not. It's dedicated to Nigeria. Because today is about taking Nigeria forward. I don't want to use that word that all the politicians use. Next level in quotes, but thank you. Thank you for dedicating it to me.
To you, yes.
When
always.
Pharaoh sits here next week,
as always.
I will see what you will do.
As always.
Okay, so that's how far we can go this day, Saturday the 1st of October, 2022. Happy new month to you, and what a way, to start up our independence. So many activities going out there. Please make sure you're a part of it and be your brother's keeper today. All right? Do something nice to someone.
So you can watch the program, repeat.
Yeah, tonight 10:30, tomorrow morning 9:30, and of course we are on
DSTV 408
and
Star Times 308.
Okay, and it's 24 hours on YouTube,
That's
so you
on
can
YouTube.
catch up this entire show again if you missed it. I'm Helen Ongma Odele. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm blessed to be alive. I hope you are too.
I'm John Sanaya. See you again.
Bye for now. See you next Saturday.